Hello, I'm Christopher Smith. I'm a sophomore here at Pitt from West Orange, New Jersey. I am majoring in both marketing and finance, along with in the certificate program in leadership and ethics. As well, in addition to that, I am also the president of the Roberto Clemente Minority Business Association, and my career goals are to work for marketing research at a technology company. And now I will let our presenters introduce themselves.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jennifer Maddalena. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you all today, and congratulations for all choosing Pitt. So a great resume builder there to start. A little bit about my background. So I started my career in marketing with the Kellogg Company. I spent the first 12 years of my career there in 3 different areas. So I started in account management, generating sales with a defined customer. Then I moved over to category management, working with insights to shopper insights to sell the Kellogg products. And then lastly, spent the remainder of my Kellogg career leading various teams throughout the sales organization. I took a 2-year stint and spent some time at Warner Brothers selling their physical media to a lot of different e-commerce customers. And it was really interesting to me to have the opportunity to work in the e-commerce space, which continues to grow. But I really missed the food industry, so I moved back over and I spent the last 3 years of my career with the Campbell soup company. I lead a team for Pepperidge Farm, working with Publix here in the southern part of Florida. So you may know some of the Pepperidge Farm products. My 2 favorites are Goldfish and Milano cookies. And I'm very excited to be part of the Campbell's team. At our recent sales meeting, our Publix team won Team of the Year. So I think we're still on a high celebrating down here. So thank you all for the opportunity to chat with you today.
Thanks, Jennifer. I'll go next. My name is Matthew Lossie. I am a 2006 graduate from CBA as a marketing major. My current role, I'm a director for a company called Ipsos, which is a global market research consultancy. And the company as a whole specializes in a lot of different types of research, but the area that I focus in is market research, so helping other companies make better business decisions using insights that we can help them glean from the marketplace. So specifically, I'll help other companies with their innovation programs and developing new pipelines for what to bring to market next to help them grow their business. So that can be anything from testing out new ideas, concept testing, forecasting, what sales will look like, optimizing products, things like that. The other areas or space that I work in is in brand strategy, so helping clients grow their brands, how they become top of mind at the moment of truth when, say, you're shopping in the grocery store and you say you need cheese, what brand comes to mind first? Is it Kraft? Is it Stonyfield? Is it someone else? I've been with the company for 12 years. This is actually my first company that it's a company I started with when I first graduated from CBA. So I've been here a long time, kind of working my way up the ladder, initially as an analyst, then as a manager, senior account manager, and then now a director leading a team, focusing in a lot of work in not only the CPG space, but also in financial services and banking and health insurance as well.
Great. Thanks, Matthew. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jeremy Burke, and I'm a 2007 graduate of Pitt. So congrats to everyone who's getting ready to graduate, and wish you the best of luck here in the weeks to come. Like Matt, I've worked for the same company since I graduated from Pitt back in 2007. I've worked for Nestle in various roles in different capacities. I actually started with the company in 2006 as a sales intern in the Pittsburgh market, and spent a number of years in sales, transitioned to brand management, and now most recently I am the e-commerce marketing manager for one of our divisions, Nestle Health Science, out here in central New Jersey. I've had a number of great experiences with Nestle. They've given me the opportunity to live everywhere within the U.S., travel overseas, attend different conferences, trainings, also earn my MBA at the same time. So now I have not only my undergrad from Pitt, but an MBA to help complement everything I'm learning throughout my day-to-day job. Like I said, I started out in sales, so I actually represented all the Nestle products, everything from Dog Chow to Hot Pockets to Butterfingers in a number of Walmart stores, first in the Pittsburgh area, and then in North Carolina, followed by Virginia, Maryland, a couple other places throughout the East Coast. During my time in sales, I was able to earn Sales Rep of the Year for 2 years in a row. Very, very challenging in such a huge company, but certainly with the expertise and the help and support that I had while I was at Pitt, definitely helped me to stand out for sure and take those skills to that next level. I earned my MBA about 5 years ago while I was working for the company and started my shift from sales into marketing and brand management specifically, working on Gerber, so working on baby food and baby formula, and then transitioned over to the other side of the equation, on the other side of the lifespan of working on Boost nutritional products, which is more targeted towards seniors and older populations. Finally, wrapping up brand management with Carnation Breakfast Essentials. I'm sure we've all had that through the years. It was Carnation Instant Breakfast, then Carnation Breakfast Essentials. So spent about 5 years in brand management and marketing. During that time, I'm proud to say that I led the team that earned one of 20 global recognition awards for all of Nestle. Nestle has hundreds of brands throughout the entire world, and every year they are able to award some of their top performing teams with a global trip. It's a 1 week all expenses paid trip to Switzerland. You get to ski on a glacier, see all the chocolate and the watch factories, and it's an amazing experience. I'm really proud of my team for being able to drive that and win that award in the marketing realm and in brand management. About 6 months ago, I was able to transition to e-commerce, so blending sales, marketing, brand management all together, working with all of our accounts for e-commerce, be it Amazon or Walmart, as well as our up-and-coming accounts in those smaller e-commerce shops that, while they might not be very large today, are going to be a huge piece of the business tomorrow. So it's a nice intersection between sales and marketing. All started with Pitt. Very excited to be here and happy to answer any questions that I can.
Okay, thank you all for taking the time to speak with us. We'll begin on the questions now. I'll direct them at one of you, and if anyone else wants to chime in with something afterwards, that's more than welcome. So we'll start with Jennifer. One of the questions is, what do you like most about your current position?
So in my current role, one of the things I enjoy the most is developing people. So when someone new joins the team, really making sure they're getting the training to be successful, and then watching them grow and learn. And then as they begin to master the role that they're doing, really providing them with opportunities that are going to set them up for the next position, to make sure that they're competitive when a new job opens, that they're the first person to get interviewed and have a really strong foundation. And then watching them get promoted to a new role is one of my favorite parts of my current job. And also, I do have a unique role. Being in a field sales organization, we are a home-based. So one of the things that I do enjoy is having flexibility to, maybe take a lunch break and go take a jog, or maybe have lunch with one of my kids. It's a really neat benefit to being a home-based employee. Sometimes you may work really early or really late, but to be able to have that flexibility is a really neat benefit.
I'll go next. This is Matt. What I really like working in market research is being at the forefront of what's coming to market. So all the work that we do with our clients helps informs either brand strategy that you'll see in the market, or new products, new services that you'll see and are tangible in advertising, or something you'll see on the shelf, or a new credit card that you'll see online. So it's really cool just being able to see a lot of the foundational work that you do being leveraged by the product teams of the clients that we're working with, and working with them in conjunction to build products that have an actual direct impact on the growth of these companies.
Okay. So next question, we'll start with Matt. What is something you wish you knew before getting into your current position?
I would say one of the big things that I wish I knew as I've kind of climbed the ladder here at Ipsos is negotiation skills and don't being afraid to ask for what you want. Obviously, that kind of comes along the lines of salary, but also in terms of other things, in terms of what your interests are and what you're doing and the types of accounts that you're working on. It's something I've learned over time from a few different folks here inside and outside the company. But one of the things that I feel that you're probably not going to learn in school, but a skill that is really valuable to acquire fairly early on is the ability to negotiate.
Do you have anything to add, Jeremy?
Sure. This is Jeremy. Just to add to that, I mean, that's a really great point, Matt. And I would say when I was thinking about this in my career and what I wish that I knew and advice to give to my younger self, really it's that there's no one path to success. Everyone makes it in a different way. And I was so concerned that I had to do everything right and follow this straight line. And in reality, those curves, those different opportunities that you take, those chances that you take, just make you a more complete, holistic person, not only just professionally, but personally, and that there's really no one expert. So everyone looks to the top and thinks, okay, I need to go associate manager, director, VP, all in a line, and they're afraid to take a chance or deviate from that. Really, it couldn't be anything farther from the truth, and you see that the people that have taken different roles or different positions within an organization, when they get to the next level, are able to bring a unique skill set that helps to the entire team to achieve more. So, whether you're worried about if it's an accounting degree or finance degree or marketing or sales, and if it's going to fit with this position, much more important than where you start is certainly that having that end goal, that true north in mind, and creating your own path and not being afraid to take those chances and do it differently than what you might think and what you might hear, because everyone has a different path, and it'll certainly lead you to that end goal regardless of which way you might take to get there.
Sounds good. So we'll move on to the next question, and we'll have Jeremy start with this one. Given your experience, what skills or knowledge do you wish you would have deployed in your undergraduate marketing coursework? And this question is from a PhD student who teaches undergraduates and is curious about what practical knowledge would be useful to incorporate.
Yeah, sure. I spent 3 years at Pitt. I actually transferred in after my freshman year from a different school as I changed my major from being a history teacher to being a marketing major. So I have a little bit of experience with Pitt and a little bit of experience in how it's done with other universities, and then obviously in the real world and working with a number of students and team members from different schools. And I would say that I really feel one of the things that Pitt helped me to prepare for was those soft skills, the presentation abilities. It seemed like we were challenged and encouraged to stand up, make those presentations, have those speaking skills, not being afraid to speak to a crowd, and be able to convey your point effectively and in a succinct manner. Those were skills that we learned and we earned even in every class I took within CBA. One of the things that I needed to develop more on the job, if you will, are more the analytical skills, more that strong, heavy math side of it. It's certainly something that could be specific to your role, whether it's Nestle or it's any other company out there. Every team is going to have different ways that they look at data and how they interpret the analysis that you're being asked to do. But having a little bit more of those harder skills, those math skills, would have made the learning curve a little bit flatter, leaving Pitt and starting in that first role.
Just jump on to what you just said, Jeremy, and totally agree that being able to tell a story from a diverse set of data is a really invaluable skill these days, particularly in the past 10 or 12 years since we've graduated. being able to make sense of information and to tell it in a clear, concise way, really make a story out of it, is a really invaluable skill, whether you're working in research or honestly any other type of business as well, to think through as you work through your courses in undergrad.
And this is Jennifer, continuing to tag on to that. That was the same answer I was thinking of, and also making sure you're utilizing Excel to its fullest. So I was older in the program, but coming out, Excel was newer and coming, but the more Excel skills you can gain, so when you're getting those vast amounts of data, you can quickly manipulate it, and turn it into insight so that you can craft that story. I think being able to manipulate all that data is a real skill, and employers are looking for that. So the more you can continue to learn and grow in Excel will be a huge asset.
Definitely. So Jennifer, in a world where we now fire off quick emails and social media posts on our phone, is writing still important to marketing careers?
Yeah, I thought this was an interesting question. Absolutely. So I think as we're changing, there is less face-to-face interaction. There's less phone conversations. More is happening, whether it be an email, a Skype message. More is happening via written communication. So I think it's even more important than prior, because you may not already have those pre-established relationships with someone, and they're gaining a relationship with you through that written communication. So I think it's absolutely imperative that even though the communication may be more concise or faster, that it's still written well, and it's still very important.
Totally agree, 100%, just as important as yesterday or however far back you want to think. And whether you're communicating to other colleagues within Ipsos or to clients, it's just as important. I had a manager here not too long ago that was very purposefully used very short, direct communication, but oftentimes some of the other analysts, I was used to it and I've been familiar with her, so I usually understood what she meant, but some of the other analysts that were younger, a little bit less experienced, had a hard time picking up what she really meant. So it ultimately just led to more, either issues or communication breakdowns where they'd have to call her, just work through it again. But communication will be important no matter what. It's not going away. The other part of this is, part of everything's online, through an instant message or a chat or an email. Picking up the phone every once in a while can go a long way, especially with the clients that I work with. Sometimes it's just easier to solve something over the phone and to do something over email. And it just goes a long way. I mean, I'm guilty of, neglecting the phone. I'm millennial. I've, rather just do something online. But at the end of the day, I've kind of come to terms that, sometimes it's just easier. And don't do it so much that you're uncomfortable. Don't do it to the point where you're uncomfortable speaking to someone. So I'll be honest here. There's analysts that come in here out of school, and I can barely make eye contact with them while they're interviewing. So it's just something to practice, get comfortable with, be confident, and don't let that part slide.
Yeah. And just to build on that as well from what Matt and Jennifer were saying, I would actually argue that it's even more important now because we're not expected to write 5-paragraph essays. I probably wrote 1,000 5-paragraph essays in high school and college. I have written 0 since I started with Nestle. So you don't get 3 pages to convey what you're trying to say. You have 30 seconds. You have 5 lines. I'll admit it. I've sent emojis and sent that over too. And yes, it's fun, but who you are is represented in such a smaller space and time now that it's really critical to be able to professionally put together your thoughts, communicate it in an effective way. And I'd say it's almost more challenging now because the attention span of your audience and the demands that are required from them usually mean that you have such a limited amount of time. And then you do see a lot of companies, mine included, and you heard from Jennifer that she works from home, a lot of your contacts are going to be remote. So you need to either pick up the phone or send an email and have an effective communication and strategy with them. So absolutely having an effective writing style and good communication skills are extremely important nowadays.
Okay, so now we're going to switch over to some questions about your careers and jobs out of college, and we'll direct this one at Matt. What skills do employers value the most in marketing students, and what are the most sought-after skills on resumes?
When we're looking at hiring analysts coming straight out of school, we're looking for a lot of different things. I often look at the job as part of its project execution, so how well of a manager are you? How well can you manage a project and time management and anything that's executional in nature? And then the other half of it's kind of more the pure marketing side of it. So how well can you apply marketing principles to our clients' business issues? So looking for problem solvers, people that are a bit more analytical, but not so analytical that they can't communicate and connect with other folks. They have good intuition for where to go or what to do next. And again, telling a story, things like that.
This is Jennifer, just tagging on to that. One of the things I always look for on resumes is what have you done above and beyond your coursework. So what are the things that you're doing to show your leadership, so that knowing that when you're hired into the organization, you're going to look for those same opportunities in the organization to find things that are above and beyond your role to be successful. So whether it's extracurricular activities or clubs or study abroad programs that you did, things that differentiate you and things that show your leadership skills. So anything you can do to set yourself apart, I think is interesting, and that's a great way to gain leadership skills while you're in your undergraduate program.
Yeah, completely agree with what Jennifer and Matt said. You know, having that experience in the field, having that degree certainly helps to get you up in the stack, so to say, of resumes, but having that unique point of difference, having that uniqueness that helps your individualness or your creativity shine in a way that jumps off the paper, whether that's speaking a second or third language, traveling to a different area, showing your skills in a different way, volunteering a job, otherwise. These things aren't what everyone is doing, so having that on your resume or being able to speak to it is a great way to stand out. Because everyone will have an undergraduate degree, everyone will have your basic marketing or finance courses, but really how do you stand out, or how did you take that coursework, apply what you learned. You didn't wait 2 or 3 years to apply it in a full-time or a professional level. You started working on that right away, whether it was part of a club, working at a job. Like, how did you take what you learned right away, showed that passion for what you want to do, and started activating and learning more about it from day one? So yeah, definitely having that uniqueness or having that individuality shine through the resume and the interview process is key.
Okay, next we have a question from someone who is a first year at CATS. They've landed a strategic marketing summer internship at a major firm, but are more interested in brand management. Do any of you have any suggestions for how to translate marketing experience from one area to another?
This is Jeremy. I can speak to that directly. I had a very similar situation with my own career path. I started in sales with Nestle as a lot of their entry-level positions within the business fields start with sales. I think it's a great way to really get a firm base and understanding of the business, because you're required to sell your products, know your competition, be able to enunciate your points of difference, and win every day with your retailers or with your account managers. So it's a great way to shift, but I knew that I didn't always want to spend time in sales. I always joked, I don't mind selling Hot Pockets, but I want to figure out why they sell the cheese that they have in there, or where do they source it from? Where do you get, why Wisconsin cheddar and not you know, a different Swiss or some other cheese? And those were the brand management, those marketing decisions, kind of that next step back in the process that really intrigued me and was my true north through all my time interning and in the sales field. I would say that being in brand management and in marketing in general, there's no one-size-fits-all skill set, and it's one of those things where being 100 feet deep and 2 feet wide isn't necessarily what this position looks for. You need to be a jack of all trades, and as much that I always explain it to people when we're talking, it's like a bike wheel, and you're in the middle of that wheel, and every spoke is responsible and needed to help that wheel go around, that wheel being the business. So while each spoke might be supply chain, finance, INR, different functions, you need to be connected and aware of all those different pieces and how they all are interrelated to make the wheel go around. So whether or not you have experience in one piece of marketing or in statistics or sales or what have you, you're going to be learning on the job in brand management from day one. So while it's important to have a specific skill set in one or two areas for sure, that certainly helps to get you into that position, showing a willingness to learn, networking, connecting with people that are there in those positions as well, trying to jump into different projects or just showing an interest. You mentioned that you have an internship, you know, a face-to-face lunch or grabbing a cup of coffee can go a really long way in helping you stand out. But so far as transitioning those roles and those skill sets, everything that you're doing, if that is your ultimate goal, will certainly help to build your resume when you're looking for that full-time position at the end of the internship.
Does anyone else have anything to add on that? Okay, we'll move on to the next question. What was one of the biggest misconceptions people have about your career, and was there anything about your career path that you were surprised by once you entered the workforce? And we'll direct this one at Jennifer.
Wait, that was a big one. Can you say it one more time?
Sure. What was one of the biggest misconceptions people have about your career, and was there anything about your career path that you were surprised by once you entered the workforce?
Okay. I ended up taking a sales path from marketing. So my degree was in marketing and had gone into Kellogg and started in a sales role similar to Jeremy. And then the next role was in marketing. That was the next career path, but I personally didn't want to move to Battle Creek, Michigan, where Kellogg's was based. So I ended up taking another role in sales and to continue my career path. But I think sometimes a misconception of sales is that you're just wheeling and dealing, and I definitely think that's, you know, sales has continued to change from a relationship of, you know, this is the person you know and they're buying something from you because they know you, to a really analytical, fact-based game of you're using data to sell products. So I think that it's definitely a misconception of sales and what selling is like, especially in the consumer goods industry. And then in terms of career path, and one of the things I didn't know going into the career path, and Jeremy mentioned a little bit too, when you are in a field-based organization, in order to continue to advance, you are relocating. So I've moved several times to continue to grow with companies. So that's one thing to think about as you're looking at positions. You know, if you're looking at something a headquarter base, is there a career path where you're in one location, or are there, if you're looking at a different role in order to continue to advance, is it relocations that will continue that career path for you? And, you know, which path are you looking for? Some, you know, folks want to stay in one area, and some enjoy the path of, you know, getting to live in different areas. So this is something to think about as you're entering your career path.
Anyone else have anything else to say about that? Okay, so we'll move on to the next question. Matt, what software tools or technology is most important to help candidates stand out?
I would say personally, at least within Ipsos, having a really good understanding of Excel and PowerPoint are the top two pieces of software that we use on a day-to-day basis. The ability to have some skills visualizing data is really helpful as well. So you have large sets of numbers, large sets of data, as you're telling the story, you know, how do you visualize it? Having a sense of that would definitely give you a leg up. Other software, it's not too heavy here. You know, we do have a few folks that use SPSS and some heavier stuff like SAS. For most people, though, in a client service-facing role like myself, that's not the norm. Typically, we have teams here in operations and our modeling teams that are the statisticians, the pure statisticians that are doing all that analysis. We need to figure out and interpret what it all means, but they'll crunch a lot of the numbers and the work for us, which is great.
Okay. So, Jeremy, what advice can you give for a student who didn't major in marketing but is trying to break into the marketing world? This question comes from several different people, a communications major, a science-related major, and a statistics major. They're also wondering what's the best way for them to market themselves when competing against marketing majors for an entry-level position.
Yeah, no, it's a great question, and I'm really happy to help guide anyone who's interested in sales or marketing. Please feel free to reach out. I'm happy to answer any questions, and I'm part of the Alumni Mentoring Network too, so if there's any questions that we can't answer in this time, please let me know. And when I was preparing this question, I was thinking about it, and when I joined my sales cohort, they pull folks from all over the country. You know, Pitt's one of many schools that Nestle recruits from. And when we went around the table and everyone's kind of feeling themselves out on day one and meeting everyone else and trying to size up, you know, who went to which school, which one won the Final Four, and, you know, who had the better weather, it came out, too, that half of the people there weren't business majors. There was English majors, there was music majors, history, political science, and this is for a big, big company that, you know, you would think, okay, I need to have a business degree in order to get into business. Not so whatsoever. And sincerely, and with no disrespect to any of the business majors, myself included, having the degree certainly helps, but it's not the be-all and end-all. Having those communication skills, having that drive and that passion to enter into a field, that's going to shine through regardless of what your individual major might say. So my roommate at Pitt was a music major at Duquesne, and he was a primary of a trombone and a piano player. Sure enough, joined me at Nestle the year after I graduated and became one of our top sales reps. And his key qualification at the time was he plays trombone really well. But besides what you could see on paper was his ability to communicate and connect. He's one of the most sincere and nicest guys that you'll ever meet, and that's why he did so well in sales for so many years. You know, we spoke earlier about finding that difference and having that confidence and having that unique point of difference, that personality that you have that shines through. You know, having that degree certainly does help. There's no two ways around that, but it's not a death knell if you don't have it. Find that way, that connection that you have outside the classroom to what you want to do in your field. So if you want to do sales, see if you can get an internship in a sales-related position. See if you can volunteer with a nonprofit. Join a team or a club on campus. If you want to get into marketing, there's a ton of marketing opportunities out there. More so than having the specific degree is having the experience in the field that you want to be a part of. Everybody wants to be in marketing or brand management because they think it's cool. We shoot commercials. We take really sweet trips. And yes, that is true. I'm not going to lie. That's fun. But having that experience and having that firsthand that you're jumping into the fire, whether that's, no matter how small that opportunity might seem, is really going to help to stand apart. And then you'll be able to speak more knowledgeably to that position. So whether it's marketing, sales, what have you, don't let that deter you. Certainly, you know, apply and let that passion that you have shine through, whether it's on your cover letter, your resume, or in the interview process.
Okay. So, Jennifer, what is something you did in college to help you advance your career now?
Sure, I think both Matt and Jeremy have spoken to it a little bit, but the opportunity to gain work experience before you graduate. So through the Career Development Office at Pitt, my junior year, I was able to get an internship with the Hershey Company. So any opportunity you can get to do an internship, whether it be during the summer or even maybe a couple hours during the week during school, is an awesome opportunity to get real-life examples of work experience, and it will help you, too, figure out what area is truly of interest to you. And I remember when they first offered me the internship, it was supposed to be unpaid, and I think that you spoke to it in negotiation skills is I knew I really wanted the job, but I needed at least gas money to get myself there and back each day. So I negotiated for a small stipend for the summer, but it was, negotiating for at least what I needed to make it work for myself. But it paid dividends in the future having that on my resume and showing that, I was working toward my future career path even before graduation. I think the other thing then is, too, is, anything you can do to study abroad and give yourself diversity of thought. Sometimes we can get tunnel vision of, this is what happens where we live, or, this is the way we should perceive things. But getting outside of that train of thought and seeing how other people perceive things and how different cultures work in other areas of the world, I think is absolutely invaluable as you move into organizations with people from all different cultures. It will only help you work with them better and interact with them better. And our society is changing so much. It's that diversity of thought, I think, is super important.
Okay. So, Matt, how have you personally made transitions throughout your career in marketing, and what advice would you give to those looking to make a career switch in marketing?
I'll be honest, I'm not sure I'm the appropriate person to answer that one, because I really have led up a really clear career path in my growth here at Ipsos, but I haven't particularly transitioned from one significant business unit to another, other than the types of clients or accounts that I service.
That's fine. Jeremy, do you have any input?
Yeah, sure. I've done the transition from sales to marketing and spent about 5 years in both general realms. So, happy to help answer the question. I've worked within Nestle. It's a huge organization. This is my 4th business unit within Nestle, and certainly, to Jennifer's point, having that ability to relocate for the job certainly helps. But having also that true north, if you will, that guiding light, there's going to be a number of opportunities that will be presented to you over your time in your organization. You're going to do well, you're going to succeed, and you're going to be wanted to be taken in a lot of different directions. Just keep the focus on that true north and make sure that everything that you do, if that's your true passion to go, say, in my instance, from sales to marketing, that every opportunity that you take helps to get you to that ultimate goal. It'll seem like it takes forever, but I guarantee if you ask any one of us, it'll feel like we just graduated from Pitt yesterday. It feels like it takes forever to get to there, and then once you're there, it feels like it took no time at all. So having patience and trusting the process, trusting the system. I remember Dr. Gilbert in his marketing class telling me that at the time, that everybody thinks that they're going to drive a BMW and have a car phone by the time they're 25. I don't think car phones exist anymore, but the whole point was to be patient and to trust the process. And that's really good advice, because Rome wasn't built in a day. We see every now and again, we'll see this young person that owns $1 billion. That's not realistic. What is realistic is coming in every day, working your tail off, having that passion, having that true north, and making sure that every career decision that you make, every choice that you make, helps you to get one step closer to that ultimate goal, whatever that might be. So like for me personally, I turned down a number of job opportunities to go from sales into analytics, and it was very challenging for me to see everyone in my class get promoted before me. And it was very discouraging at times, to be perfectly honest, wondering what am I doing wrong, what's going on here, because they made an extra $5,000 with this move, or someone's moving here. But at the time I was back in school earning my MBA, focused on the long term and focused on that. So when that opportunity came up, it was exactly what I wanted. And being in that job or that role that you've always set your heart on is worth way more than an extra $5,000 or $10,000 in a promotion in the long run. So absolutely felt like it was never ending. In the moment, looking back on it, it feels like it was just a blink of an eye. So, just stay focused, stay positive, and just, recognize it's a long game. It's 40 years. So there's a lot of game to play, and all good things come in time.
Sounds good. So Jennifer, how do you respond to changing consumer tastes in the marketplace? For example, the increase in vegan customers and gluten-free options.
Oh, sure, absolutely. Consumers are definitely changing what they're looking for and what they're asking for in terms of purchases. I think Campbell's is doing a really nice job in terms of using insights to make sure that they're innovating in spaces that the consumer is looking for. For example, we just came out with a gluten-free goldfish. So they're really looking to find those areas that are going to be successful. But then we've also seen a lot of products, too, that have come out in the market that consumers are asking for, but, there's a lot of folks are out there who say they're going to buy the salad and then end up eating the cookie. So there's a difference between also, making sure we're understanding the demand correctly of what people are saying and what people are actually going to buy to make sure that the right products are out there. But it's an interesting switch in dynamics on what people are eating, and then the whole industry is changing.
Okay, we'll switch to a question for Matt. One audience member says they would love to learn more about Ipsos and the marketing research they conduct.
It's a big question. I'd be happy to follow up with them after the fact. You can give them my contact information.
Okay, so I'll ask a different question for you. How is the emphasis on data-driven marketing changing the way that, that Ipsos does business?
Data-driven marketing and social media has a large impact on our business. P&G historically has been all the major research suppliers, like #1 client for decades, and then now it's Google and Facebook and a couple of others. So just in terms of our top-line revenue, it's a huge shift in the types of research that we're doing for those types of companies. Even for some more traditional companies, I'm working with a large health insurer now, and they're using more of a data-driven approach into how they approach sales to employer-sponsored health insurance. So when they're selling health insurance to companies like Ipsos or Nestle or Campbell's, they're using data to figure out what makes those organizations tick. What do they prioritize health outcomes? Are they more value-focused? Things like that. So we're helping firms use the data that they have internally to better target and refine their offers, products, and messaging.
Okay. So Jeremy, what do you see as the primary challenges in the global e-commerce market?
Yeah, it's a great question. The world of e-commerce is changing so rapidly that what worked for you last year is definitely going to doom you to fail this year, because Amazon doesn't wait for anyone, and everyone's trying to be Amazon before Amazon becomes them, right? Amazon is a huge lead over any e-commerce player, but we're seeing huge strides being made from Walmart, from Kroger, and then a number of individual brands, even Nestle, Procter & Gamble among them, creating their own brand stores where they're trying to sell directly to consumers without even having to go through a traditional channel. So, the space is constantly evolving, and the challenge that we have here at Nestle, and I'm sure across many other teams as well, is that Amazon is such a huge piece of your sales. It's very challenging to feed the beast and at the same time mitigate the risk. It's very helpful to have a strong partnership with Amazon. It's also very dangerous because they can turn you off in a heartbeat and sink your number in an instant. So if they want an extra $2 million, you better have $2 million for them, or you better have someone else who can sell just as much at scale. And right now, Amazon is really the big player in town. We're seeing some really interesting things coming out of Walmart, especially with their acquisition of Jet.com, and they have some really interesting opportunities. But to be perfectly frank, they are pretty far behind the 8 ball. So having a strong understanding of the opportunities with Amazon, which are constantly changing, always evolving, that's priority 1. But then it'll be very interesting to see how everyone else catches up, tries to mimic what they're doing, try to leapfrog over Amazon, and being able to react quickly, which isn't always so easy in a large organization, to be honest. But having that ability to push through those ideas, through the clutter, through the bureaucracy, through the large layers of management that you might find, certainly a challenge and a key to driving success and winning in e-commerce.
Okay. So this next question is for Jennifer and Jeremy. Sales isn't typically a major at college. It isn't at Pitt Business. So why would you say that students should consider a career in sales?
Yeah.
Jennifer, do you want to start?
I'll kick it off. Yeah, sure. So yeah, it definitely isn't a defined career path, and like Jeremy said before, similar to marketing, it's not just one major that feeds into sales either. Many different majors that can feed into it. I think if something you enjoy is interacting with others, definitely presentation skills is very important in sales, that you enjoy presenting in front of others and feel comfortable sharing information in front of others. But my sales path has been more on account management side, where you're really working closely with a customer to develop a relationship with them, and then finding out how to continue to win and grow with them. So there's a very analytical portion to it in terms of how is your customer doing, and then what is it going to take to continue to grow, whether it's new products, new insights. So it's a puzzle that's happening every day to figure out what's going to be the next thing that's going to keep them growing. So if you enjoy those type of challenges and you enjoy building relationships, I think sales is a neat path, and it's been a lot of fun for me.
Yeah, and I would build on what Jennifer said. It's almost a misnomer to say joining sales, because sales is a big part of what you do, but there's so much more involved with the account management, the relationship, the analytics. So yeah, while sales wasn't a major when I was at Pitt either, it is seen as a great starting point to building a career, especially with the larger companies. So within Nestle, there are no entry-level marketing positions, so to say. It's all in sales, and that's where you build the base. You learn the business, you learn the competitors. Being in the field every day, being in stores every day, touching, feeling, seeing what's going on with the consumers is way more practical and easier to get a good understanding of the business, as opposed to sitting behind a desk every day and trying to see what's new on an Excel chart, so to say. So we see it as the strong foundation for a good career. It's a launch pad position where out of sales, with Nestle and with many other large companies, yes, you might go into sales or account management. You might go into analytics, like a career path almost like Matt. You might go into marketing, but it's to have that common denominator at the beginning. So even if you are considering a career in a different field or different position, I wouldn't necessarily be turned off to a sales rep or a different position in sales, and using that to leverage a unique career path into a different career or a different position or field as your next position after that.
Okay, so that was the last question. So I just want to thank you all for taking time out of your day to participate in this webinar. Really appreciate it and provided us with a lot of useful information. So definitely thank you for that. And Greg wants to say a couple of things to wrap things up.
Great, thank you, Christopher. Wanted to mention a couple things. As Jeremy, Jennifer, and Matt noted, there's many opportunities to get involved at Pitt Business if you have an interest in marketing. One of the great student organizations we have on campus is the Pitt American Marketing Association. They're a very active group involved in lots of things and always looking for new members. So whether you're an underclassman or an upperclassman, there's an opportunity to get involved. Their website and their email address are below. Also wanted to mention, if you enjoyed today's broadcast, you can view past Pitt Business webinars on the website. We've covered a range of topics, some with an alumni panel like today, covering everything from data and job function to working in sports and careers in different areas such as investment management. And finally, wanted to mention mentoring match. I believe one of our panelists gave a shout out to it earlier. Everyone who is on the panel today is a member of Mentoring Match. It's an online platform that is exclusively available to Pitt Business undergraduate students, so non-business undergraduates are not eligible to participate, but it's a chance for our students and alumni to connect with one another, where alumni can provide mentoring advice and students can seek them out by career interest in geography. We've had a lot of success with it so far. There are over 400 alumni who have signed up who are in the system, and we have close to 300 students who are involved. So that wraps it up. Really appreciate today's panelists, and so thank you, Jennifer, Matt, and Jeremy, for your great insights today. And ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's webinar. On behalf of the University of Pittsburgh, we'd like to thank you for your attendance today.